So we are in a sparkly book of A Course in Miracles, and we are on a page 27, and it's that paragraph at the bottom. Because the atonement is a total commitment. Kevin, who is first today?
Allison's first.
That
Allison.
would be me. Yep.
All right, dear brothers and sisters in Christ.
The atonement is a total commitment.
Yes.
You still think this is associated with loss. This is the same mistake all the separated ones make in one way or another. They cannot believe that a defense which cannot attack is the best defense. This is what is meant by the meek shall inherit the earth. They will literally take it over because of their strength.
Mm.
A two-way defense is inherently weak precisely because it has two edges and can turn against the self very unexpectedly. This tendency cannot be controlled except by miracles. The miracle turns the defense of atonement to the protection of the inner self, which, as it becomes more and more secure, assumes its natural talent of protecting others. The inner self knows itself as both a brother and a son. You know that when defenses are disrupted, there is a period of real disorientation, accompanied by fear, guilt, and usually vacillations between anxiety and depression. This cause is different in that defenses are not being disrupted, but reinterpreted, even though you may experience it as the same thing. In the reinterpretation of defenses, only their use for attack is lost.
Mm.
Since this means they can be used only one way, they become much stronger and much more dependable.
Wow.
They no longer oppose the atonement, but greatly facilitate it. The atonement can only be accepted within you. You have perceived it largely as external thus far, and that is why your experience of it has been minimal. The reinterpretation of defenses is essential in releasing the inner light. Since the separation, man's defenses have been used almost entirely to defend himself against the atonement and thus maintain the separation. They themselves generally see this as a need to protect the body. the many body fantasies with which men's minds are engaged arise from the distorted belief that the body can be used as a means for attaining atonement.
Mm. Wow, it's a mouthful already. Eh?
I'm done.
I'm done too.
Perceiving the body as a temple is only the first step in correcting this kind of distortion. It alters part of the misperception, but not all of it.
Mm.
It does recognize, however, that the concept of atonement in physical terms is not appropriate. However, the next step is to realize that a temple is not a building at all.
Mm.
Its real holiness lies in the inner altar, around which the building is built. The inappropriate emphasis men have put on beautiful church buildings is a sign of their fear of atonement and their unwillingness to reach the altar itself. The real beauty of the temple cannot be seen with the physical eye.
Amen.
The spiritual eye, on the other hand, cannot see the building at all because it has perfect sight. It can, however, see the altar with perfect clarity. For perfect effectiveness, the atonement belongs at the center of the inner altar, where it undoes the separation and restores the wholeness of the mind. Before the separation, the mind was invulnerable to fear because fear did not exist. Both the separation and the fear are miscreations of the mind which must be undone. This is what is meant by the restoration of the temple. It does not mean the restoration of the building, but the opening of the altar to receive the atonement. This heals the separation and places within man the one defense against all separation mind errors, which can make him perfectly invulnerable. Oh, stuff. Kathy, not reading?
Yeah, I read.
Okay.
The acceptance of the atonement by everyone is only a matter of time. In fact, both time and matter were created for this purpose. This appears to contradict free will because of the inevitability of the final decision. If you renew the idea carefully, however, you will realize that this is not true. Everything is limited in some way by the manner of its creation. Free will can temporize and is capable of enormous procrastination. But it cannot depart entirely from its creator, who set the limits on its ability to miscreate by virtue of its own real purpose. The misuse of will engenders a situation which in the extreme becomes altogether intolerable. Pain thresholds can be high, but they are not limitless. Eventually, everyone begins to recognize, however dimly, that there must be a better way. As this recognition becomes more firmly established, it becomes a perceptual turning point. This ultimately reawakens the spiritual eye, simultaneously weakening the investment in physical sight. The alternating investment in the two types or levels of perception is usually experienced as conflict for a long time and become very acute. But the outcome is as certain as God. The spiritual eye literally cannot see error and merely looks for atonement. All the solutions which the physical eye seeks dissolves in its sight. The spiritual eye.
Excuse me, Kath.
Yeah.
Can you just slow it down a little bit more?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
The spiritual eye literally cannot see error and merely looks for atonement. All the solutions which the physical eye seek dissolve in its sight. The spiritual eye, which looks within, recognizes immediately that the altar has been defiled and needs to be repaired and protected. Perfectly aware of the right defense, it passes over all others, looking past error to truth. Because of the real strength of its vision, it pulls the will into its service and impels the mind to concur. This reestablishes the true power of the will and makes it increasingly unable to tolerate delay. The mind then realizes with increasing certainty that delay is only a way of increasing unnecessary pain, which it need not tolerate at all. The pain threshold drops accordingly, and the mind becomes increasingly sensitive to what it would once have regarded as a very minor intrusion. The pain threshold drops accordingly, and the mind becomes increasingly sensitive to what it would have regarded as very minor intrusions of discomfort. You want me to keep reading?
No, thanks, Kath.
Okay.
Kim, you're next, but you'll have to unmute because I muted you because you were making a bit of little funny noises. Not you, but there was a bit of feedback or something. And you can't unmute. Great.
Here we go.
There you go.
Hey.
The children of God are entitled to perfect comfort, which comes from a sense of perfect trust. Until they achieve this, they waste themselves and their true creative powers on useless attempts to make themselves more comfortable by inappropriate means. But the real means is already provided and does not involve any effort at all on their part. Their egocentricity usually misperceives this as personally insulting, an interpretation which obviously arises from their misperception of themselves. Egocentricity and communion cannot coexist. Even the terms are contradictory. The atonement is the only gift that is worthy of being offered to the altar of God.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey.
Hey, brother.
Sorry I'm late. Blood test. Hi. I'm here. Hey, everyone.
Hi, Anthony.
Hey.
We are on a page just about starting at page 30, aren't we?
Yeah, page 30 at the top. Well, second from the top.
Thank you.
The atonement is the only gift that is worthy of being offered to the altar of God. This is because of the inestimable value of the altar itself. It was created perfect and is entirely worthy of receiving perfection. God is lonely without his souls, and they are lonely without him.
That's so cute, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Men must learn to perceive the world as a means of healing the separation. The atonement is the guarantee that they will ultimately succeed.
Enter. You know where we are?
Yeah, where are we?
Healing is released from fear, page 30.
Oh. Healing as release from fear. The emphasis will now be on healing.
Mm.
The miracle is the means. The atonement is the principle. And healing is the result. Those who speak of a miracle of healing are combining two orders of reality inappropriately.
Mm.
Healing is not a miracle. The atonement, or the final miracle, is a remedy
while any type of healing is a result.
Wow. That's amazing clarification right there, isn't it?
Mm.
Mm.
The kind of error to which atonement is applied is irrelevant. Essentially, all healing is the release from fear.
Mm.
To undertake this, you cannot be fearful yourself. You do not understand healing because of your own fear. A major step in the atonement plan is to undo error at all levels. Illness, which is really not right-mindedness, is the result of level confusion in the sense that it always entails the belief that what is amiss in one level can adversely affect another. We have constantly referred to miracles as the means of correcting level confusion, and all mistakes must be corrected at the level on which they occur. Only the mind is capable of error. The body can act erroneously, but this is only because it is responding to misthought. The body cannot create, and the belief that it can, a fundamental error, produces all physical symptoms. All physical illness represents a belief in magic. The whole distortion which created magic rests on the belief that there is a creative ability in matter which the mind cannot control. This error can take two forms. It can be believed that the mind can miscreate in the body, or that the body can miscreate in the mind. If it is understood that the mind, which is the only level of creation, cannot create beyond itself, neither type of confusion need occur.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When they talk about sickness, like why are babies born sick? They've sort of haven't even, their mind haven't even come into gear yet.
Well, the mother's mind has.
Okay.
They
So,
may come in with something already, who knows.
yeah.
I think there's something about shared misbelief.
Say it again.
There's something about shared misbelief. Like,
Yeah.
we're all one mind in actual fact.
The whole world is a shared misbelief.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. And sickness comes after that, hey?
It's not from us, not from our, like we're born into it. No.
Did I say your next call?
Oh, thanks. Is it the all physical illness?
No, the reason.
The reason, okay. The reason only the mind can create is more obvious than may be immediately apparent. The soul has been created. The body is a learning device for the mind. Learning devices are not lessons in themselves. Their purpose is merely to facilitate the thinking of the learner. The most that a faulty use of learning device can do is to fail facilitate learning. It has no power in itself to introduce actual learning errors. The body, if properly understood, shares the invulnerability of the atonement of the two-edged application. This is not because the body is a miracle, but because it is not inherently open to misinterpretation. The body is merely a fact in human experience. Its abilities can be, and frequently are, over-evaluated. However, it is almost impossible to deny its existence. Those who do so are engaging in a particularly unworthy form of denial. Woohoo! Mm-hmm. Wow. The term unworthy here implies simply that it is not necessary to protect the mind by denying the unmindful. If one denies this unfortunate aspect of the mind's power, one is also denying the power itself. All material means which man accepts as remedies for body ills are merely a restatement of magic principle. It was the first level of the error to believe that body created its own illness. It is a second misstep to attempt to heal it through non-creative agents. It does not follow, however, that the use of those very weak corrective devices are evil. Sometimes the illness has a sufficiently great hold over a mind to render a person inaccessible to atonement. In this case, it may be wise to utilize a compromise approach to mind and body in which something from the outside is temporarily given healing belief. Who's next, Kevin?
Anthony?
This is because the last thing that can help the non-right-minded or the sick is an increase in fear. They are already in a fear-weakened state. If they are inappropriately exposed to an undiluted miracle, they may be precipitated into panic. This is particularly likely to occur when upside-down perception has included the belief that miracles are frightening. Induced. Oh, sorry. Has induced the belief that miracles are frightening. The value of the atonement does not lie in the manner in which it is expressed. In fact, if it is truly used, it will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. This means that a miracle, to attain its full efficacy, must be expressed in the language which the recipient can understand without fear. It does not follow by any means that this is the highest level of communication of which he is capable. It does mean, however, that is the highest level of communication of which he is capable now. The whole aim of the miracle is to raise the level of communication, not to impose regression in the improper sense upon it. Before miracle workers are ready to undertake their function in this world, it is essential that they fully understand the fear of release. Excuse me. Otherwise, they may unwittingly foster the belief that release is imprisonment. A belief that is very prevalent. This misperception arose from the underlying misbelief that harm can be limited to the body. This was because of the much greater fear that the mind can hurt itself. Neither error is really meaningful because the miscreations of the mind do not really exist. This recognition is a far better protective device than any form of level confusion because it introduces correction at the level of the error.
Wow.
The miscreations of the mind do not really exist. This recognition is a far better protective device than any form of level confusion.
I'm just wondering, I see the words level confusion in the book a lot. Can anyone explain what it means?
Oh, so it's sort of talked about it a little bit earlier on. I've never been able to really understand it myself. It did talk about it a bit. I've never really sort of focused on it and tried to get what's being talked about. But I think, there's like there's mind and there's body and I don't know.
Mm.
I understand it, Kath. It's about trying to bring like God into the world, like making the world real, asking for things in the world. That's the level of confusion where you need to go to the right mind and not trying to make the world a better place, like having to change the world. You change your thoughts about the world.
Thanks, Kevin.
It was very good, Kevin. It
Yeah,
was very good.
He's a scholar.
Jesus.
He's been around this book.
And when you said that, I went, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Well, I don't know if that's right, but that's just what I think.
Oh, I think it's true. I think that's
Very good.
Mm.
What about you, Chantal?
I don't even know what was asked.
Oh, Kath was asking about what is level confusion.
Oh, well, there you go. Kevin answered it.
Is it a thing that also you got the body and the mind, and
Mm.
I'm just asking a question as well. You treat the you get the two mixed up as well as the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I- I've always wondered about it.
Mm-hmm. It's like imagine that you're in a state where you're in perfect oneness with God.
Mm.
And then this tiny, crazy idea creeps in, and you begin to believe it. And out of that idea, you create a whole world of levels and confusions, higher, lower, brighter, darker. Yeah.
Mm.
And then you're trying to figure out what are those levels? What do they mean? They're basically confusions.
Oh, that's right. He talked.
When the
Yeah.
atonement occurs, when you become one again, when you remember that that was just a tiny bit idea that creeped in, and then that part of itself begin to verify it and magnify it and make it big and made it very heady, and begin to see things that are not there out of that tiny made idea. But when you at one, that tiny made idea vanishes.
I don't know if anyone read what Ian shared.
What did he share?
I think he said, I think it means the mind or consciousness is primary and matter, the body, is secondary. Causation flows from the mind to the body, not the other way around.
Hmm.
Back in the preface, it says consciousness is a receptive mechanism receiving messages from above or below, from the Holy Spirit or the ego. Consciousness has levels and awareness can shift quite dramatically, but it cannot transcend the perceptual realm. I don't know if that makes any sense. So even the Holy Spirit and the ego is like a different level. So
There are all sorts of. I think there are several different levels, and
yeah.
I know you talked earlier about the that men often mistake body impulses as a means to atonement. or something like that.
Miracle impulses.
As well.
Yeah.
I'm very confused about level confusion. Right.
But
Do we carry on?
Listen, but you're not confused about it when you're having those moments when you have an experience, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Exactly. So out of the experience, there will be confusion of levels. In the experience, there are no confusions. Only ego
Yeah,
can
there's
be
there's
confused.
clarity.
Yes.
There's extreme clarity in
Yeah.
those
So
moments.
you
Yeah.
return to oneness. You're actually at one. You are toned. You one with your whole self. Yeah. So now you don't have just this level where you think, you have all of yourself present with you, just as God created you. In that sense, there'd be no confusions. Yeah, and you wouldn't even drag one in. You have to kind of you have to separate yourself in order to go into this questioning. Remember the clarification
Yeah.
of terms, only ego asks questions.
Mm.
To which an answer is impossible.
Only ego asks questions to which an answer is impossible. Yes.
Yes.
It's all right to ask questions, though.
Yeah, it's all right
Because,
to ask
you
questions.
know,
Yes. Mm. Mm. Like when you're in love, what are the what do these levels of confusion mean? You know?
I think it's like the whole thing about healing the body is a very important, I think it's a very important subject because I've had all kinds of things, including, what we call mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
that I've tried to treat through taking remedies, through, addressing the body, through, I think it's probably one of the most, maybe the most common mistake, the most commonly misunderstood thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've only recently stopped taking most of the remedies I was taking, and it hasn't made the slightest bit of difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Your bank balance looks a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good big money making scam. I know the people who do it believe in it, a lot of people. But anyway, can we carry on
Thought we
with
were
the
carrying
reading?
on.
Hmm?
Yes.
Oh, that's what we were doing. We were carrying on.
Oh yeah, I'm carrying on a bit.
Yes, but, we're up to Tonka. Last but not least, Tonka.
Yeah, I want to say that, like with the what calls it the just before there was that, like perception is not an attribute
Of
of
God.
God.
Mm-hmm.
And what is asking, the data is asking, perception is asking the questions, not the God is asking questions. Well, you know that anyway, but I felt like I should say that. Okay, so
Well, look, I'd just say if anyone thinks that they understand Course of Miracles, they don't understand it. Let me put it that way. Yeah, because it's designed to bring you to your knees. There is no clear answers in any of this,
I
except
found
the
another. Yeah.
return to the wholeness. So for me, this always brought me to my knees. I'm going like, God, I don't understand this. Then an experience would happen that would bring understandings that would leave this behind in a way. And I think it works that way. It's not to be interpreted, it's not to be studied, as we know it.
I think that's both,
Yeah.
really.
Well, that's the opinion.
I
But
found another thing about the levels back in Miracle 28.
mm-hmm.
Miracles come from the below or subconscious level. Revelations come from the above or superconscious level. The conscious level is the in-between and reacts to either sub or superconscious impulses in varying ratios. Consciousness is the level which engages in the world and is capable of responding to both. Having no impulses from itself and being primarily a mechanism for inducing response,
Mm-hmm.
it can be very wrong. So,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. You can have all
It's
the answers.
no wonder it's
Be,
confusing.
yes, you can have all the answers, be as mental as they get. No light experience, no direct communication with wholeness.
I think like if you do understand the concepts, that's fine. But
Yeah.
like it's not that I'm not anti understanding a concept, but without an experience, it's like you say, Cole. It's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's not a full it's not the full thing.
Yes. That's it.
But then don't we also have to understand the experience that we're having? So I still say it's both.
I think it gives us I think probably gives us clarity about where we find ourselves.
Well, again, when you do the lessons, they'll train you. Every hour they go and remind you, hey, remember God? Remember light? And you have these tiny light experiences and you get used to it. You become, it becomes, so when the actual shift happens, like it says, it does no longer freak you out. Because you can have light experience and go, shit, what is this? But when your mind is wholly trained, or at least trained a little bit, you'll go, oh, this is just a greater expansion of, it's like, if you're right now in the presence of God, you wouldn't be able to sustain your physicality, basically. Would be unnecessary also, because God is not form. The love is not form either. Anyway, shall we go back to reading?
So,
Sure.
Okay, so it is essential to remember that only the mind can create. Implicit in this is the corollary that correction belongs at the thought level. To repeat an earlier statement and to extend it somewhat, the soul is already perfect and therefore does not require correction. The body does not really exist except as a learning device for the mind. This learning device is not subject to errors of its own because it was created, but it is not creating. It should be obvious then that correcting the creator or inducing it to give up its miscreations is the only application of creative ability which is truly meaningful. Magic is essentially mindless or the miscreative use of the mind. Physical medication.
Sorry,
Physical.
So he's what?
Oh, I just suddenly went, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about before. That's right.
Physical medications are a form of spells. Those who are afraid to use the mind to heal should not attempt to do so. The very fact that they are afraid has made them vulnerable to miscreation. They are therefore likely to misunderstand any healing they might induce, and because egocentricity and fear usually occur together, may be unable to accept the real source of the healing.
Right.
Under these conditions, it is safer for them to rely temporarily on physical healing devices because they cannot misperceive them as their own creation as long as their sense of vulnerability persists. They should be preserved from even attempting miracles. Oh my God. It's okay. Someone else can read now.
Okay. It's back to Alison, but she's left the building.
She's dematerialized.
You'll go, Alison, when you're ready.
That
Back to you, Alison.
oh, that was very nicely read, Tonka. It's lovely to have you reading.
Yeah, thank you so much. I receive your appreciation.
We have already said that the miracle is an expression of miracle-mindedness. Miracle-mindedness merely means right-mindedness in the sense that we are now using it. The right-minded neither exalt nor depreciate the mind of the miracle worker or the miracle receiver. However, as a creative act, the miracle need not await the right-mindedness of the receiver. In fact, its purpose is to restore him to his right mind. It is essential, however, that the miracle worker be in his right mind, or he will be unable to re-establish right-mindedness in someone else. The healer who relies on his own readiness is endangering his understanding. He is perfectly safe as long as he is completely unconcerned about his readiness, but maintains a consistent trust in mine. If your miracle working propensities are not functioning properly, it is always because fear has intruded on your right-mindedness and has literally upset it or turned it upside down. All forms of not right-mindedness are the result of refusal to accept the atonement for yourself. if the miracle worker does accept it, he places himself in a position to recognize that those who need to be healed are simply those who have not realized that right-mindedness is healing. Thank you.
Sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the atonement for himself. This means that he recognizes that mind is the only creative level and that its errors are healed by the atonement. Once he accepts this, his mind can only heal. By denying his mind any destructive potential and reinstating its purely constructive powers, he has placed himself in a position where he can undo the level confusion of others. The message he then gives to others is the truth that their minds are similarly constructive and that their miscreations cannot hurt them. By affirming this, the miracle worker releases the mind from over-evaluating its own learning device, the body, and restores the mind to its true position as the learner. Reading this, it seems to me that we all have the level confusion, or I'll speak for myself, I have level confusion pretty much all the time.
Me too.
Yeah. Just reading this, I think, yeah, definitely level confusion is like A+ for me. I've got that one right. Very confused. It should be emphasized again that the body does not learn any more than it creates. As a learning device, it merely follows the learner. But if it is falsely endowed with self-initiative, it becomes a serious obstruction to the very learning it should facilitate. Only the mind is capable of illumination. The soul is already illuminated, and the body in itself is too dense.
Tell me about it.
Next time I say to someone they're too dense, that's probably true. They're dense. You're dense. You're really dense. Anthony, you're so dense.
I am dense.
What did Master Charles used to say, Kevin? We're dense carbon units. You remember?
Mr. Charles.
Dense.
Mind, however, can bring its illumination to the body by recognizing that density is the opposite of intelligence and therefore unamenable to independent learning. It is, however, easily brought into alignment with a mind which has learned to look beyond entity towards light. Corrective learning always begins with the awakening of the spiritual eye and the turning away from the belief in physical sight. The reason this so often entails fear is because man is afraid of what his spiritual eye will see. We said before that the spiritual eye cannot see error and is capable only of looking beyond it to the defense of atonement. There is no doubt that the spiritual eye does produce extreme discomfort by what it sees. Yet what man forgets is that the discomfort is not the final outcome of its perception. When the spiritual eye is permitted to look upon the defilement of the altar, it also looks immediately toward the atonement. Oh, a lot in that.
I don't think I want to look upon the defilement of my altar. No way. It'd be horrendous.
Yeah, I think that's the scary part. That's what the fear's all about.
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing your world crumble before you. Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Well, Kim, your chance, your shot to bring us back to sort of something.
Okay. Oh, that was a bit of a much, that paragraph. Nothing the spiritual eye perceives can induce fear. Everything that results from accurate spiritual awareness is merely channelized toward correction. Discomfort is aroused only to bring the need for correction forcibly into awareness. What the physical eye sees is not corrective, nor can it be corrected by any device which can be seen physically. As long as a man believes in what his physical sight tells him, all his corrective behaviour will be misdirected. The real vision is obscured because man cannot endure to see his own defiled altar. But since the altar has been defiled, his state becomes doubly dangerous unless it is perceived. The fear of healing arises, in the end, from an unwillingness to accept the unequivocal fact that healing is necessary. Man is not willing to look on what he has done to himself. Healing is an ability lent to man after the separation, before which it was completely unnecessary. Like all aspects of the space-time belief, healing ability is temporary. However, as long as time persists, healing is needed as a means for human protection. This is because healing rests on charity, and charity is a way of perceiving the perfection of another, even if he cannot perceive it himself. Oh, that's a whole different way of looking at charity, isn't it? Gosh.
Think of that next time I go to the op shop.
Well,
I
passing,
just like
passing a fellow on the street with his cup, you know, like, oh.
Can we complete that section, or are we done for today?
It's
Two
just
more
complete. There's only 2 paragraphs to
Two
go.
more paragraphs,
All
yeah.
right. Who's next?
Chantal.
Chantel, take us home, honey.
Most of the loftier concepts of which man is capable now are time dependent. Charity is really a weaker reflection of a much more powerful love encompassment, which is far beyond any form of charity that man can conceive of as yet. Charity is essential to right-mindedness in the limited sense in which right-mindedness can now be attained. Charity is a way of looking at another as if he had already gone far beyond his actual accomplishments in time. Since his own thinking is faulty, he cannot see the atonement for himself, or he would have no need for charity. The charity which is accorded him is both an acknowledgement that he is weak and a recognition that he could be stronger. The way in which both of these perceptions are stated clearly implies their dependence on time, making it quite apparent that charity lies within the human limitations, though toward its higher levels. We said before that only revelation transcends time. The miracle, as an expression of true human charity, can only shorten time at most. It must be understood, however, that whenever a man offers a miracle to another, he is shortening the suffering of both. This introduces a correction into the whole record, which corrects retroactively as well as progressively.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm. That's so good, all that. That whole chapter.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
You.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We'll be seeing you next
Tomorrow.
Next tomorrow.
tomorrow for your Shabbat.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, in a week.
Yeah.
All right, beloved. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank,
Thank
thank
you.
you, dear.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good,
Yeah.
gorgeous day, all of you.
Yeah.
You too.